this is my cornhole, and this is my home. For this is my cornhole, and this is my home. Come on, Mr. Nichols. Hockey, hockey, hockey! Aye, aye, aye! Hockey! Aye! Hockey! Aye! Hockey, hockey, hockey! Aye, aye, aye! Ricardo Bispiggen!
Hi, I'm Rich Pyle, the host of Hole Nation, where we share everything this cornhole and a lot more. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and catch our new videos every Wednesday at 7. And remember, whether it's sticky or slick side down, bring it.
Oh my.
ACO, ACO, ACO! Oi, oi, oi! Oi! Happy Taco Tuesday, mate!
We back! We're back. Oh my God, it seems like forever. Shh, there you go. I got to do it too because I did it like a dummy. I forgot how to do the taco. I did it over here. Welcome to Taco Tuesday, a triple Taco Tuesday, Hole Heads. I'm Finn, the loudmouth for the ACO, side by side with Frank Geers, the Cornhole Dude. It has been a minute. Last week, thank you for your patience. The weather around here, not good. But we've got a triple Taco Tuesday for you tonight. We're going to hit results as soon as we can. And we got stories to tell. We want to hear your comments. Bring them in the comments, whether you're on the YouTube channel or if you're watching along on Facebook. Glad to have you along for the ride. Our Cornwall singers there at the Par Inn, they were there on St. Patty's Day, and that just happens all the time. It wasn't just a special thing for that, I don't believe. It happens a lot. People just break out in song. You'll hear more from them a little bit later, and we will wrap up the show with Chad and Kim's excellent cornhole adventures from England. It's a really nice piece. They did a great job, so you're going to be able to check that out at the end. But we got lots to get to between now and then. Welcome home. God, I mean that in the most broadest of senses. The minute he got back, he hit the ground running and off to Peoria. Then it was off to Shreveport and finally back. Yeah, and I'm headed out to Cedar Rapids tomorrow morning. So here we go, Finn, all over again. Next week, you know where I go? Dallas.
You young kids. Good, you young kids. I don't know how you do it.
It's good stuff, though.
Old men like me, I wouldn't be able to do it. But
got a couple in the house, so let's say hi to Cooksey and William Howell's out there, and who else was out there real quick? Kayla, Marie. All right, so just want to say hi to a couple folks out there tuning in.
Very good. And Cooksey, hopefully the shoulder's coming together. Anthony Russell, what's up, fellas? Always the first to check in on the YouTube channel, so glad to have you along for the ride. But again, we're going to go backwards and work our way. Shreveport, Bossier, back to Peoria, back to the UK here in just a moment from the ACO Underground. First things first, quick thanks to our bag partners out here on display. Right down in front, lower right.
What we got?
Throwing Stones Cornhole, is that right? The Throwing Stones, that's a pretty good one right there. Big D Bags, they were just out with you recently this past weekend, right? Big D Bags, the Bag Brokers.
The brokers here.
We saw those guys, if I'm not mistaken, in just outside of where were we in Texas the last time we saw those
Legends
guys? Yeah, Legends. Yeah, we saw those guys in Legends. We've got Roswell Bags
Roswell this way,
in front of me. The Roswell Bags.
Baby, there we go.
And then
Roswell.
True Cornhole is going to wrap up the featured bag partners for tonight. Good stuff. As always, glad to have so many of our bag partners along for the ride as we go throughout the course of the season. Looking forward to re-upping and getting new bag partners, new lines of bags in for season 20. It's going to be a very special. It might not be a bad idea to start thinking about season 20 designs. You're not going to have to have a separate stamp unless, if you're new, you'll get your stamp, but you won't have to have just for season 20. But it might be cool to have some season 20 style bags. I saw Clinton put out some tropical-based IMF bags, which might not be a bad idea.
Maybe he's prepping for a little Punta Gorda or something like that.
Punta Gorda, maybe Camp Margaritaville, I don't know, but smart play. Good stuff. Bag partner deal of the day on the Facebook page, SS Cornhole, the Dopey series. Those sound like something I should probably be using. Those are the ones that you throw and they come back and hit you in the face. I don't know if I threw them, they would be. But again, that's a pretty good deal. $60 shipped. Get in there. There's only 2 sets, 1 line. Today it was SS Cornhole Dopey bags. They may already be gone, but tomorrow at noon we'll drop another set. The mystery grab bag that you get for signing up early for a major. If you're in the first 50, you got 2 chances. First 100, you got 1 chance. Dave O'Hanlon from Missouri grabbed a set, and Wyatt Wanek from Missouri also grabbed a set this weekend. You'll get those bags, just a random grab bag set of 4. You don't know, but they're stamped and they're approved, and you can't beat the price. So you'll be getting those in Cedar Rapids. Congratulations, guys. Nicely done. So let's get to the results.
I think that might be the first time we've had, 2 people from the same
Both
state.
from the same state, and 2 from Missouri going to Iowa, which is interesting. So that's cool. Very, very well done. Nicely done. All kinds of chances to win different things here and there. So if you're paying attention, you've pretty much got a good chance to cash in. I never did take a drink after we cheers.
You didn't take a drink.
Sorry
Mine's
about
half
that.
gone
My
already.
bad.
I'll drink again with you.
Anyway, yeah, I figured you might. So let's talk a little bit about results. Let's talk a little bit about some stories. What a weekend this was. And we're working through and talking about different things about streaming and different stuff. We want to get as much streaming as we can out to you. But I'll tell you, the stories that kept coming out of Shreveport Bossier started with the Welcome Bash at East Bank. How cool was that? The weather was perfect.
So first thing, I don't know if anybody's tuning into the show right now that happened to be in Shreveport, Bossier City, but the East Bank District, Finn, you've got to come next year just to be part of that. That whole setup is awesome. I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 different types of foods you can eat. I did the smash burgers. That was amazing. We did some crawfish. April Clemens was with us for the first time she ever ate crawfish on her birthday weekend.
Nice.
So you know how picky she is about eating.
And
she loved it. It was so amazing. I mean, outside where we did in the parking lot, the actual cornhole tournament, I mean, it was beautiful because it was open container. We could just walk in there, grab our drinks. While in the background, Finn, they had this amazing stage and live music going on. So it was a lot of fun. And, I got a feeling based on some of the footage and players' experiences that we had this past year, that next year we'll double the size of that tournament.
That could very well easily be the biggest welcome bash anywhere that we have, aside from the Worlds, wherever we go for the Worlds. But thanks to Bo and Brittany, who helped us get that set up there at East Bank. Bojack's was one of the sponsors. Frozen Pierogi was one of the others. Bayou Axe, Chef's Table, and I think that Seventh Tap Brewing was also one of the sponsors. And
That's the place that had the smash burgers.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
But they had specials going on for us.
Bojack's had the crawfish,
the
crawfish and stuff. Yeah, it was
well, you would
stuff.
imagine if it's spelled Beaux.
So I didn't even make
food.
it over to the axe throwing that's in the middle of the place. So they have this axe throwing place, and it's not just a regular old axe throwing place. They actually have this video board that show you, so you can be throwing axes at zombies and stuff.
Nice.
So it's really kind of cool.
I love it. But what a great welcome bash! Thanks to the entire crew. I mean, you mentioned April's.
Oh, there
birthday.
April's digging into a crawfish. I'm checking her out now.
Perfect timing on the video. Chris ran like Clarkwork, as obvious, because Chris and April were there. Her birthday. Whitney and Jacob were there. Priest was there, and it was just a crew that really got it done.
A crew that kicked butt. I mean, it was an awesome event. We actually got out of there early, Finn, early enough in time to go enjoy more of the East Bank area where we got to listen to some a live band there. I forget the name of the band, but it was incredible. Big group there celebrating. But I also want to thank some of the bag partners and partners that came out there.
Yeah.
To the event. We had a new company on board, Element Cornhole.
Nice.
Was there. We had Big D, Jonathan from Big D Cornhole, or Big D Bags.
And they won the the Bagmaster quads.
I think they did in Tulsa as well.
Yeah.
So I think that was back to back for his crew coming out. And then also we had a new guy, Casey, that was there with a products company called Soul Crusher Cornhole. I loved his stuff. I actually bought the boys 3 hats from him that were awesome. So
Nice.
If you're looking for some good swag, Soul Crusher had a lot of good stuff there as well.
Well, good stuff. And what a weekend it was. And then the same name kept popping up time and time because I sit and I kind of wait for photos to come in, and I watch Scoreholio now. I actually know how to get into it. But I was watching, I'm like, wow, I mean, this is a pretty stacked field. And I was watching some similar names pop up here and there. And one person in particular, one player, had one hell of a weekend. And we'll get to him here in just a moment. But congratulations to the big blind draw. Jacob Whaley partnered up with Sebastian Barger. One of the great pictures from the pre-party was you and Jacob Whaley. I could barely see anybody in the parking lot because his hair was out to the side of his hat. But congratulations, guys, for the blind draw quads. Win the co-ed doubles, and this is where you will hear this name for the first time. And if I'm not mistaken, the female part of this co-ed team is back-to-back, because I do believe she won previously in Peoria, and that was Kennedy Meineke. I think she did. Yeah. She was partnered up with Mason Higgins, so they took co-ed, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, are you guys sending me the same picture? Are you sure you're getting this right? Juniors, Mason Higgins, got a picture of him holding the juniors trophy, so well done. Daryl Macon, if I'm not mistaken, he was making his way to the top of the podium, and he did just that. Congratulations. He took down the seniors division. Kennedy Meineke, again, you're starting to hear some names kind of bubble up to the top as we get closer to the World Championships. These are some you might want to keep in mind, especially if your name is Philip Barnett, but we'll get to him in just a moment.
Looking to make your picks.
Yeah, how about that? Kennedy Meineke took the women's division. And then in doubles, I think, if I'm not mistaken, these guys maxed out with this win. And this was sort of the ad hoc team that was put together out of necessity, and that was Gary Bearpaw and Sebastian Barger. And I know you and the Bargers had a good time. I saw some great selfies with you guys getting photo bombed here and there, but that was good stuff. But I'll tell you something, the singles winner took down the entire field. How about Mason Higgins? What a weekend he had.
Higgins had a heck of a weekend, I'll tell you what. There's no doubt about it. And I tell you what, he's got an interesting pitch. I mean, we don't want to go into it this show, and I think there's something there, Finn, to kind of talk about some of the players' different pitching techniques. You talked about Macon there. I mean,
Macon's got a very unique
He's got
pitch.
a very, very unique pitch, but, man, he knows how to put it in the hole. And same thing with Mason Higgins, man. He sits back and rides that bag, and it's kind of like a hybrid stand step. It's really kind of hard to explain how he pushes his body into a shot, but the dude is a rock solid player, man, no doubt about it.
Well, there are very few players in the ACO or anywhere in the cornhole universe, I believe, that deliver the bag exactly the same way or very similarly. Where there is a doppelganger out there with Caleb, and off the top of my head, I'm trying to figure out who I'm thinking of, and I apologize, I've just spaced it, but that's about the only other one that I've seen. But yeah, you're right. And what a great weekend. And we'll get back to the conversation about Mason Higgins toward the end, because we want to hear, we might as well throw it out there now and talk about it later. Will our next king of cornhole or first ever queen of cornhole come out of the juniors division? Do you think that's possible? And the question is out there for you, so please respond in the comments, whether it's on YouTube or on the Facebook channel. Will our next cornhole champion be out of the juniors division? There's a strong case that could be made that will be the case this year. Now, I know there's seniors and those in between that would like to take issue with that, but there's a strong case being made that it very well could be a junior.
100%.
And maybe not the junior that everybody's always been talking about, unless he's just laying low and watching. And you know who I'm talking about. You know the name I'm talking about. But pretty exciting stuff for the future of the game. So congratulations.
So real quick, couple people calling out here. Alistar Pettit from Europe there is tuning in. He just got back from club night, and he says here, just got in from club night, and you guys are on. Perfect. Good to hear from you, boss.
Alistair, and it was, I think, his son. They were a huge part of making it happen. And we'll talk more about the entire crew with the UK group and the ACO Europe. That was a lot of fun, and we have some great stories, I think, to share with you from there. And surprisingly, we still remember a few of them after it being like 3-4 weeks away. But congratulations again. Mason Higgins, cannot congratulate you enough on what was just a gigantic weekend. So from Shreveport-Bossier City, a city that we're excited to get back to over the coming years and expand that pre-party and the Welcome Bash tailgate, we moved to Peoria. We backtracked now a week to Peoria. And this was one of those where, it was, oh my God, it's sold out. Well, let's see if we can get some more boards in, and let's make a few more tickets available. Put the tickets sold out again very quickly. What was sacrificed was the ability to have a larger center court. More people got to participate, more people got to play, but didn't have the opportunity to put up the full broadcast from center court. But the bottom line is, again, just in a tight space, a great tournament,
for our first ever time in Peoria.
Yeah, it was a super experience. And Finn, I mean, maybe some people disagree with what I'm going to say here now, but I love the fact that the majors take place in different types of spaces because it makes it unique. It makes it special to that particular place. We always come back to talking about Bentonville, Arkansas, and why Bentonville is so special. Peoria was special because of just that reason. I mean, it was a tight environment. Intimate. They had the bar upstairs. A lot of people were able to stay at the hotel. It was right downtown. So it was a special event, man. And the fact that you did have to maneuver around some people to get to your boards, like you said, it's intimate, man. It's a little bit different. It's not
sort
like
of how the game was built, if you know what I mean.
Right? I mean, so I loved it. I mean, we had, a lot of people that played in singles. But this never has happened before, and we had a lot of extra teams sign up for doubles that unfortunately were not able to play in singles. But we had like 70 additional people that came out just to compete in other activities and didn't get to be a part of singles. But no, it was a late night. Mia and Jesse will tell you that, and the team. But it was worth it. It was a great event.
And speaking of the team, Jonesy, Brian Jones, Mia, the Hempies, both of them, Priest again, and then Tiffany Sparks. Again, great work. Nice, tight, intimate environment, good tournament. Everybody seemed to have fun. And the bottom line is it's nice to see those happen because then there's room to grow. And it's a great story to tell the CVB or the people that we deal with in that particular town. Now let's go find a bigger space. That's why when you fill out the surveys, that's why stuff like that is so important. It gives us an opportunity to go back. They can come see the results of what happened, and they understand we got to find maybe a bigger place for next time we come back. So that's exactly what that's all meant to do. Grow the game, grow the venues, make these things as big as Knoxville, make them as big as Branson, make them as big as Owensboro, any chance we get. I think you're right. I think it's kind of funny. There's Bentonville is always going to, I feel like people would revolt if we went to a bigger place in Bentonville. I think everybody wants it to be that little nugget right there.
Right.
And if you get in, you get in, great. And if you don't, you don't. But I think that would be the only one that maybe expansion might not be as well received.
I'm kind of glad to see global warming going on too, because this year in Bentonville, it was like 65 degrees and absolutely perfect, man. In the last few years, it's been rainy, wet, cold, snowy, and this year was awesome.
Hey, you know what? You know who has to worry about global warming? Our kids. Anyway, you're welcome. But what a great weekend, and thanks again to the entire crew. I want to get here to those results because, as we promised you, we were really wanting to crush those. Let me get in here. I want to
get
make
in
sure
the results. But again, back to the event. The food was awesome there too, Finn. I'm trying to think of. I should have wrote this down. The name of the restaurant we went to. It was an old converted church in town there.
Okay.
That was a brewery. It's now a brewery restaurant. If you come to Peoria next year, if you or Eric or any of the team or any players end up in Peoria next year, you got to go to this place. The food was exquisite. It was fairly priced, and the refreshments were awesome.
Awesome. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about the results. Kennedy Meineke, as mentioned, she and Carter Guy paired up for the co-ed, and that was her first purple jersey, both of them. That was her first purple jersey for the season. And then she comes back-to-back this past weekend with Mason Higgins. But congratulations to Kennedy Meineke. Again, names that if you go to AmericanCornhole.com, you're starting to see names to watch and players to watch, and you're starting to see some new players kind of pop up in there. AmericanCornhole.com, if you haven't been there in a minute, it looks really cool. It's got a very good, faster, slicker feel to it. Latham and his crew have done an outstanding job. Juniors, Parker Burgett, he had just won a couple of majors prior. His first purple jersey, he repeats with his second now. Congratulations for taking down juniors. Terry Dawson, how about T-Bone taking the seniors?
He has been around. He's a fixture and has been a fixture for a long time, not just in ACO, but just the world of cornhole.
Cornhole,
he's been a fixture with us for quite some time.
For sure. And the aforementioned Tiffany Sparks took down the women's division. And then a couple of names that go back all the way to Beloit, Wisconsin, as a team that won doubles back then. But how about Drew Waking and Tom Gustafson?
They can, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Phil Barnett picked those guys, and may or may not have picked them for this coming week in Cedar Rapids. But what an interesting team with very different pitch styles.
Nope, a very interesting team and two very solid players, man. And I'll tell you what, when either one of those two are on, they're hard to beat. If both of them are on, they're almost impossible to beat.
It's a done deal, right there. And Tom Gustafson parlayed his doubles win into a singles win. Again, one of the more unique pitch styles on the tour, and so glad to see him reemerge here over the last couple of years. And just a good guy, and he took down singles in Peoria. So congratulations to Tom. Very nicely done.
Yeah, Saul Reyes asked a question, and in the ACO, you've got to play with ACO stamped bags. If you want to know how to buy some of those, you can check them out on our website. Take a look at some of these stamped bags up here of our partners. But there's over 60 plus bag partners involved with the ACO. So
and they're all scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now.
Lots of bag partners to choose from in the ACO, but you do have to play with ACO stamped bags in the ACO.
And what I would suggest too, Saul, is what you might want to do is if you have a certain style or a way that you like to play, like I throw the bag high. If it hits the board, it doesn't go anywhere. It's not a big slide. I mean, so I need a faster bag when I throw. If you have a specific type of style you're looking for, throw it in the comments, because I guarantee you people that are watching or that will watch this later will have suggestions. Because, I mean, you can look at a scroll and go, that doesn't do anything for me because I'm just new to the game.
That's a great name.
But it's a cool name. But anybody that's watching will be more than happy, I think, to recommend a bag manufacturer and a style and a line of bags that fits the game you say you have. So throw it in the comments, and let's see if the ACO universe doesn't roll out and help you out as well. So now let's step back. Before we get to what's coming up, let's talk about ACO Europe. This was an adventure on every level. I would tell you it was the one that we look forward to, and then I think we all looked at each other and go, oh my God, it's this weekend. And then next thing you know, we're on a plane. I think you flew out of Atlanta. I flew out of Boston. We end up in the UK, and then everybody just you went to Dublin, I went to London, and everybody just went blam, and we just scattershot. We buckshotted all over England, all the different players, the Klingers, the Irvins, Caleb, and his beloved, who soon are going to be very hitched. I mean, that's kind of Adrian. Very soon are going to be a man and wife. Tammy and Junior and the Sturziks and their daughter. So many that came, from Alaska. The contingent from Alaska, who I thought would just fly over the top of the globe and be there in like 20 minutes. It took them 19 hours or some nonsense.
I think wherever you go from Alaska is going to take you 19 hours. That just seems to be the trip.
But so many players from the States. I think we had 12 to 15 states represented. Daniel Lilly and his crew, Craig Smith in from Ireland, brought in the gear and made the equipment so good. Alistair, we had John and a handful of others that did such a great job. Obviously, John Steins also.
He was the man.
He was the guy who made all the gear
and stuff. He's the man. I mean, and I'll tell you what, one of my favorite pieces that John made was that trophy that we had. The coin trophy, man. The We Are Cornhole, American Cornhole, that we used in just about every photograph that we had. That was a great element.
That was a great piece of woodwork. And our guy Michael on this end, he's going to be looking at it going, maybe I'll try to do that. But anyway, great stuff. But you guys went to Dublin. You spent time.
Oh, by the way, wait a second. While you're talking about
let's talk about
this. Is something John made too. This fabulous trophy here.
Yes.
Which, by the way,
nice of him to make that.
I won while I was in Europe. I got my first wood in Europe. Thank you very much, with my quads team. Doesn't need to talk about it any more than that right now, Finn, but I just needed to tell the world that.
Interesting. It's the first wood he got in Europe. And was your wife still there, or did she already flown home?
That was before she came.
Well, you might want to rephrase that. You might want to rephrase that as well.
We regress.
Anyway, the bottom line is he got wood. Good for him. But the jersey you've got on also tells the tale. This
jersey tells the tale, man. Let me get up.
Very cool. Yeah, get up there and show off a little bit.
A bunch of all the players Can you see it at all, man? I don't know.
No, there you go. Step back. There it is. And get on and get in. There it is.
But anyway, it was awesome, man. I got everybody who came out to Europe and played, both from the U.S. And again, Finn, thank you. Thank you to all
Magnum,
the ACO
Howell.
players that came out there
Yeah.
and brought their players, their friends, their people. We had like 44 people from the United States, Finn, that came out from 13 different states to this first ever event in Europe. This was huge.
And you're seeing some great pictures. And I would tell you something. For those of you who did come out, Chad and Kim, Hal, honestly, Magnum and his crew, you guys, there are no better ambassadors for the game of cornhole than those of you who came out and represented. Because I think one of the great stories was after it was all over, didn't Craig and Ashley go out to a local club?
Yeah.
On Tuesday and play in the
100%.
local club? Isn't that right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the King and Ashley, they did it. They did a job representing ACO and cornhole in Europe, and this is not our last event there.
No.
We're already ramping up for 2 to 4 events next year, and we in no way expect the representation from the United States back over there because we know how expensive it is to go to Europe. This is about developing our sport of cornhole beyond the confines of the United States. This is taking it out there to the rest of the world.
Well,
right?
and spreading the love of the game and the fun. And I think part of that is, and this is where I come back in, you guys went to Dublin and spent St. Paddy's Day in Dublin and did exactly what you had hoped to do. My better half, Missy, and I, we flew in, we went to Gatwick, flew from Gatwick to Newquay, and our friends from the Par Inn, Matt Bailey and Tamsin and Toby picked us up, took us down into Par, Cornwall, and we spent St. Paddy's Day with them and Tom Collins and Emma and Millie and Sam, and expanded, again, built our friendship, and we built our relationship, and we learned more about the club that they've built and the play that they have. And you saw the singing in the bar beforehand. We're going to have a little bit more of that here in a moment. But it was about expanding the relationship, and you hit on it. It's taking the game and the heart of the game out there and watching everybody develop. And those who competed in that major, those guys, we brought it to them. We really did. I mean, when they heard Caleb was coming, they heard Kim was coming, and they heard Craig was coming, they're like, uh-oh. And guess what happened? Uh-oh. But that's how it gets better. And the growth. And Daniel Lilly, God bless you, brother. I know he's going to take this on.
my man.
France, Germany, Ireland, Scotland, Spain, Italy. It's all fair game. And we're looking forward to expanding into all of those countries and all of those markets and really watching the game grow from here. It's not just always about this. It's about this, and eventually it gets to this.
And UKCL, man, appreciate everything that they
Everything
did,
they
man.
brought to the table, absolutely.
Pettit brothers are awesome. They're so fun to hang out with, and it's beautiful, man.
What are you saying? It's okay.
It's a good comment. Irvin's came to Ashbury's, our club.
Oh, yeah, here it is.
yeah, okay.
Alistar's.
Alistair, yeah.
Yep, the Irvins came to the Ashbury. Here, I'll let you check it out.
Yeah, Irvin's came to Ashby at our club, the Ashby Baggers Cornhole Club. We drank loads and pitched epic times, friends for life now because the ACO came to the UK. And that's exactly what I was talking about. There's a great picture you just saw of Chad and Kim. And again, the Sturziks came out with Isla, with their daughter, and she threw lights out in the juniors division. It's all about relationships. That's all this has ever been about. It's coming in, having fun. And we talk about the ACO family. We're not bullshitting you. That's really what it's about. And if those guys in Europe that we met don't feel like they're part of the ACO family, I will eat your jersey. They absolutely do. And we can't wait to get back. The facility, David Lloyd's was awesome. So we probably had 2,000 people over the course of the weekend walk by the window and look at us going, what is going on here?
Dude, they didn't just walk by the window. They stopped and watched what was going on, right? Entertained by it. And we had players up there that were often hanging out and talking to them and telling them about what was going on. And you talk about that facility, dude. The food there was incredible. The beer was cold and
The staff
good.
was
I
cool.
mean, staff was awesome. So what a good facility.
And I would tell you this too, because it was like if you have a really high end membership club in your town, like here it's the Indian Hill Club or whatever. That's where we were. And the membership of that club was so welcoming to us. The people that worked there, the people that were members there, they were so cool about us being there and were so inquisitive and so curious about what we were doing. It was really fun to stand shoulder to shoulder with them and talk about it. I mean, we haven't even mentioned the fact that Gary and Darian were there with Darian's father.
Right.
They came in, they had gone on vacation there, and then they decided to come hang out. So they got to spend some time. And if we've left anybody off, I apologize. But what a great showing, and what a great time, and some stories. The very first afternoon after we flew in, we went with Tom and Emma and Millie and Sam. Millie's better half, who was a police officer in Cornwall, which his stories were fantastic. He goes, we're like, well, what? It just, if he doesn't mind me sharing this, it's like, well, what, as a police officer in Cornwall, which is it's self-admittedly a quiet town, it's what do you do? He goes, well, I was involved in a chase the other night. And I'm like, really? Why was that? He goes, well, 2 other officers were chasing a guy. And since they started running, I started running because I figured I should chase them while they were chasing him. And I said, well, who were you chasing? And they're like, oh, this guy that we know about. He goes, there's only about 10 people that always cause problems, and we know all of them. So it's just which one we're going to chase on any given night. But that is the stuff that I love. We went down and saw different harbors. Tamsin and Emma shared with us part of the areas where they grew up, and we got to see stuff. There's a hotel that Emma's family owned that was part of a movie set where it was Larry Hagman from Dallas got thrown out the window of this movie, and she's like, "That's it. We used to own this hotel." And so we went and saw all these bits and pieces of the history. We hung out at the Par Inn. We got to go to the place that started this whole relationship with us.
Finn, you weren't part of the car ride when we came over there, but it was so cool because I brought my wife. When we came over to Cornwall or Par. And remember what happened when we got there. My wife was talking about this whole marmalade jar type of thing and digging stuff up in the backyard.
It's bizarre. It's almost like this was staged.
Matt Bailey just was a superstar in taking care of my wife in this whole dream of hers to dig up some glass in the backyard.
Yeah, apparently this is a big thing. She had researched this. You could go and you could find, typically back in the day, if they're old medicine jars and all different sorts of marmalade and all different things. But when they were empty, they would just throw them out in the yard and they would get covered up with dirt. And somehow she knew this because his wife, I don't know if you know this, has 8 squillion knickknacks, and she needed some more. So she was telling them about this, and like, well, let's go up here and let's look and see if there's anything here. And they dug, and sure enough, they found actual glass marmalade jars.
Dude, how many buckets of stuff did they find?
It's
we were
insane.
sitting there having fun in the bar drinking, and Matt's out there at an expedition, or what do you call it?
Excavation.
Excavation.
An archaeological expedition and
so
excavation.
They're out there digging. They had to climb to the top of the roof to the backyard. No, it was great.
So much that we got to learn in such a short period of time. But I will tell you this. I always think I know this and I know that, and I'm going to go over and I'm going to make this impression. I will never not be me, and that is do the dumbest possible thing I can right out of the chute. We go to dinner or we go to lunch with the Collins family, and they come around, and it's Sunday roast, which is a big deal. So they come around and they order and they get drinks. And I said, I'll have a Guinness. And we ordered all the way around. And I said, could I get an iced tea? There's no such thing as that. You don't order that. They're like, what? And they looked at me and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The very first thing out of my mouth was Guinness. And the second thing out of my mouth was, can I get an iced tea? And she goes, no, nope. Tea is a whole different thing. And I just ordered an iced tea like a dumbass, the dumbass that I am. But I know, I just stepped all over it in golf spikes. But I did what I do best, and I set the table for the entire weekend. But I'll tell you something. Again, I go back to the ambassadorship that was formed there, and let's go back and talk about this. We brought our players. They brought their players. Their players learned from our players. Our players learned from their players. But I'll tell you something, co-ed doubles, are you surprised to find out that Craig and Ashley Irvin won co-ed doubles? I don't think so. Seniors, Junior Williams. How about that? That's a championship. You got to love
Go
that.
Junior!
Right there. Women's, Kim Dice. Here's my shocked face.
Woo, Kimmy, way to go,
Nicely
Kim.
done. Doubles, Caleb Hurt and Junior Williams. Shocked face. Singles, Caleb Hurt takes down the entire field. You know what? It's almost like it was scripted that way, but it's exactly the way it needed to happen. And then I bring you back to this. Juniors. Our first ever European champion, European-born champion, Byron Smith. Congratulations, brother.
Yes,
Craig
sir,
Smith's
baby. I
son.
love it.
Byron Smith took down the juniors. Toby participated. He had a blast. Isla Sturzik competed. I think she was in the finals, actually, against Byron. And then I think it was Alistair's son, wasn't it? Who was the other?
I think it was.
One
Yep,
of the
you're
other
right.
juniors who played. But Byron Smith is our first actual European-born European champion. So congratulations, bud. Congratulations to you. His dad almost launched himself through a skylight.
So you know
when
what's
he
cool
won.
is he's going to have soon in his possession the first ACO purple jersey
in Europe.
in Europe.
That's killer.
So that is huge, huge news.
I love it. So the results were outstanding. Remember, don't order iced tea because they'll look at you like you're from another planet. But when you go out, and we spent some time on it, we shared a few pictures. The par in, where it all kind of started for us with the relationship with the Baileys and the Collinses. We went in, and you saw at the beginning, you saw some of the par in singers, and these are just folks that gather together and they sing songs about what it's like to be part of that culture, and it was really, really heartwarming, and it really hits you right here. There is one more video that we want to share with you before we move on to what's upcoming, and I know we've taken a lot of your time, but this is pretty
But
good.
I do, before you show that video, I want to say one more thank you to the man that really made this all happen in Europe, which is Daniel Lilly.
Cheers.
Thank you, brother, and thank you for the jerseys that you gave me.
Here, let me see. Let me hold that.
You
Is
hold
this the
one up, check them out. I got two of them from him. They're awesome. He signed them. What a great time. These will be going in the museum for me, hanging on the walls. But Daniel Lilly, thanks for not only
Bravo.
being a part of this year's event, but being a huge part of the ACO future, along with UKCL and the Pettit brothers and everybody else that we met out there, John and everybody else. Thank you, Matt and Tom and everybody that was involved with bringing the ACO out there and actually welcoming us. I mean, making us feel good about being there. It was an absolute awesome time. Now we can get to singing.
No, we absolutely. Let's do some listening to some really good singing.
She said, I know thee well, I know thee all along, I know thee in the dark, that I did it for a lock, and for that lock you'll pay, for the shaving of your daughter, you'll pay the fare, I do declare, away down to my Where's that? I never shall forget. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds, and it was Mr. Nickelback, and her hair hung down in curls. She was a charming roller. We rode all night in the pale moonlight, away down to the Lorna.
I love it, and that is straight from the Par Inn and Par Cornwall, and you saw the ACO barrelhead that had been hanging there for quite some time. The history of the area, outstanding. The fact that that's part of the culture, and that's part I wish that we were a little bit more familiar with here, and to be able to do pub stuff like that. But cheers to you guys. Thanks again to Matt Bailey, Tamsin, Toby, obviously, Tom and Emma and Millie and Sam, who we just met. Just a great time.
You know what I wish we had, though, Finn?
What's that?
Which you were the one that took the photograph, but I loved it. It was my picture with my boy, Frank.
Oh, yeah. Do we have that picture?
No, but...
Oh, why don't we have that?
I know. It kind of bums me. I didn't think about that, but we're going to have to show that some other time because that's my boy, Frank. Sometime, not now, but next year.
Oh.
That was a great photograph.
Frank meets Frank, which is the
wiener dog.
Collins' wiener dog. And at one point, he was down on the floor matching wits with Frank, but it was good stuff. So, again... And I would tell you, too, you don't have to go to Europe. You can go to the Black Hills. You can go to Toledo. You can go to Camp Margaritaville. Anywhere you go, you're going to find this. And that's, honestly, it's renewed my faith in people and just the spirit of everything. And I know it probably sounds like I'm over-dramatizing this, but this is really what this is all about and what it's supposed to be all about. So if you want to, if your whole goal is to get in and just gripe and bitch and moan, take it somewhere else because this is really what it's all about. So good stuff.
Well, Stephanie Burgett, she's the first person that chimed in that she's definitely going next year with the family. So looking forward to that. Wait till we get the list of the ones that we'll be at next year.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So anyway, so those are the results from the Triple Taco we wanted to get to. We do have more business to take care of this weekend. I mean, you said you're off tomorrow morning, off to Cedar Rapids, our third time in Cedar Rapids. Looking forward to being back there. The thing I'll never forget about Cedar Rapids was our first trip up there. And you got the call, and the weather was a little sketchy. And we were supposed to be in this one space. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And we're driving up there, and it's like, hey, Frank, we're a few hours away, but weather's not really cooperating, and we were wondering if you guys would be willing to sacrifice your space. If we put you right next door in this other space, which will accommodate, would you be willing to sacrifice the space for the band that we had that was going to play? And we're like, oh, man, some local tribute band or whatever, somebody doing Journey covers or whatever. And so it's like, yeah, who's the band? And they go, Primus. And we look at each other like, yeah, Primus can have the room. That's cool. Just tell Les Claypool to come over and pitch a few bags with us. But that was my first memory. And then also there was a really good memory. I think it was you and Candler had a...
No, it was Eric and Candler.
Oh, was it you two?
The Oz and Candler that got lost coming home from the bar that was only like 50 feet
from
the hotel.
The game, the match. No, not the walk home, but it was
you're
the
talking
match.
about the Candler match.
I'm talking to you and Candler having the match that he thinks it's been deleted. Well, it'll live forever. But anyway, we've got
Candler
it.
someday.
We've all
someday
got
we're bringing that back out, my
just
friend.
watch your P's and Q's, Mister, which is pints and quarts. But but what Cedar Rapids, a lot of fun, a great tournament. Looking forward to hoping to renew our opportunity to get to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Following that. This one is big, new in the Dallas area, the Grand Prairie, Texas major the following weekend. That's going to be big fun. I know you're heading that way as well. Then following that, the Black Hills, Rapid City, South Dakota. This is one I've seen Harcrow posting. He's as big an advocate for this one as anybody in that get out there and get your pictures. Get to Mount Rushmore, get to the Black Hills, get to the Badlands, get to Deadwood, take advantage of this.
Lots and lots to do there, man. That's one of those major that there's a reason to get out there early. Get out there a day early and stay late, man. Check it all out because there is lots to do there.
Absolutely. Then Toledo follows and Mobile follows after that. And then Camp Margaritaville. This is one I want to bring back up because there's a lot going on in Camp Margaritaville. If you were there last year, in fact, if you have some videos from last year, send them to me at taco@americancornhole.com so we can share those and build them out maybe into some shorts or something so people can see what you did. But Camp Margaritaville is a very unique area. They had the cabins that we talked about. Those cabins are all sold out. But what isn't sold out and the availability are the slips where you can pull in a camper or you can arrange for a camper to be there waiting for you. So talk a little bit about that.
That Finn, that's actually one of my favorite things. I mean, you can actually rent a camper.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an Airbnb situation. Yeah. But what you can do is you can rent a camper.
It's called RV Share, I believe.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
RV Share. And they will bring a camper to the campsite for you to use for however many days you want to use it for. So if you don't own a camper but want to stay on the campsite,
Yeah.
grab yourself this opportunity with the Share RV. I mean, it's it's good stuff. I'm looking forward
what
to
I'm
it.
going to do is I'm going to put it in the comments down here if I can figure out a way to do it, because I want you to have the link. Now, here we go. I'm going to put it in here so that you have the link if you'd like to do that, and then I'll get on the Facebook page as well.
We have a great welcome bash at that one. I mean, there's a cornhole tournament that goes on. We've got a pizza party. Beer will be flowing. Rain will be falling about 4 o'clock till 4:30.
4:15.
It's gone.
Yeah, it is. It's like
And it'll fall harder than anything you've ever seen in your life. But after it's gone, the frogs come out and life is good.
and then it's over with. So I'm gonna put that in the comment section here as well, the rvshare.com. And if you need any information about that, it's nice that they set it up for you. They put it in where it needs to be, and you're all set. I tried to put it in the comments there on the YouTube channel.
And we'll kick out on our Facebook. There are some hotels
there's
nearby too.
hotels,
There's a Best Western nearby. What are a couple of the other ones? Maybe there's
Let's see.
Winter Haven is the town you maybe want to stay at, which is only a few miles away. They've got a nice downtown, lots of good restaurants. If you decide to go off campus from
There's a Staybridge, which is brand new. It's real close. They said downtown, walkable for food and different breweries
Yep.
and shops. And that's Staybridge Suites. And we'll post all this for you, but just so you know.
Yeah, just a little teaser.
Holiday Inn Winter Haven and Hampton Inn Winter Haven, both properties. It's the same deal there. And then the Best Western Auburndale is the closest. But from a price standpoint, if you're price sensitive, you might want to look at one of the others. Don't know. But we'll get all that out, all that information out there for you as well. But
There's Whitney Garner chiming in that this one was so much fun, man. I love it, and it was true. It was a lot of fun, man.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's kind of sounded like Jacob Garner talking to me.
Your TV.
Oh.
Nothing. I didn't mean to do that.
Oh,
He's
our
talking
TV.
about my TV.
I was like,
That's still good.
we have to come up with better signals. There is a dry erase board
There's a
over
code.
there
He's,
to your right.
He's telling me that I still got the Europe thing on the background here.
Well, yeah, it's all right. We're still getting used to doing this again after having been off for so long. So we appreciate your patience. But yeah, let me see if I don't know why this isn't posting, but we'll get it out there. The bottom line is anything that you need, it'll be available for you. So thanks again to Raylan and the crew for that. But Camp Margaritaville, very cool. And then, believe it or not, Memorial Day weekend, Branson, that's it, the final major. And we're going to talk more about next week. We got a lot to talk about. We'll tell you about it in a second. But the Skins game, how that's going to be changed up and some different things. But
Dude,
can you believe it?
I feel like we were just focusing on the super major in Owensboro, and
Yeah.
now it's almost the end of the season. I mean, we are coming to, what do we have, 6, 7 majors
Yeah.
left? A month and a half worth of cornhole play.
Out of 30 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And kudos to those of you who are road dogs, those who have come out for the first time. Everybody obviously welcome and just thrilled to see you when we get out
That's
there.
interesting you threw that out. Actually, maybe we can even look at that at the next taco or the following taco to see how many people are in the hunt
For road dog
for
status.
the road dog
Yeah.
status, man. I mean, where are we at this year? Let's over under 10?
Oh, it's over.
Okay.
It's got to be over. 10.
Heine, Oz, over under 10.
Last year I would have said 10, but it was like 30. wasn't
Yeah, it was 33 last year.
it? I was way off last year.
All right, let's go over under 20.
Over.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's under 20.
I think it's over 20.
Heine, over under 20. We'll figure it out next week. Under? So Heine and I are going under. Like, I'm going to say 18, 19. You're saying over.
My entire life, I've always gone over. So that's how it works.
All right, there it is. You hear it next week. We'll find out who's in the hunt for the road dog.
There you go. So one more thing too before we talk about after the end of the season.
Oh, wait, Margaret Barrett just said over 20. So
says
people
over
chiming
20.
in. So give us your
Well,
love. Tell us what you're thinking.
Guess who would
April
know?
Clemens, between 10 and 20.
Guess who would?
Margaret's someone that.
Guess who would know more better than any of
They
us?
would, but
Margaret.
But this is funny. Margaret says over 20. April Clemens says between 10 and 20.
She's
Those
hedging
two
her
should
bet.
both.
She's hedging her bet. That's why. It's over 20, I bet you. So as we wrap things up in Branson, We follow up with Punta Gorda. And again, this is another one of those. Send us your videos. It's a totally different run tournament, $20,000 prize purse over the course of 3 days. The opening party is a whole thing. Then the next 2 days are a whole other thing. Just insane. So much fun. The Gulf Coast Classic. And that's one. If I can figure out how to get there.
Twisted Fork is amazing. If you haven't been there for that bag bash, that is awesome. I mean, if anybody was there from last year, tell us about it, man. Your experience. OTT had a lot of good teams down there.
I just saw the date again. I can't do it.
Oh, whatever.
I can't. Oh, man, I'm going to be in Toledo, of all places. It's crazy again. But, oh, my God, Punta Gorda. Check out the Gulf Coast. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's the banner on the top of the Facebook page, but also go to AmericanCornhole.com, find out the information. We're getting close to our running time here, but a couple of things we still want to get to. And as we talk about upcoming majors, obviously, Cedar Rapids is the one. And we can't get to Cedar Rapids with the stacked field that we have and not give you something to think about as far as who's going to be celebrated as winners next week in every division. Who will it be? I don't know. He doesn't know. You know who does know? Philip Barnett, the Mississippi Ninja. It's time for a little something we like to call Time to Fill.
Welcome to another episode of Time to Fill. Shreveport didn't disappoint. What a facility. That was a great place to play. Congratulations to Mason Higgins on taking down that loaded field. Now we're headed to Cedar Rapids, Iowa for another loaded field this week. And so let's start out with women. This field is completely loaded, but I'm going to go with McKenna Blue, but watch out for Martina Bell, Kim Dice, Maggie Geiger. There's a whole slew of women that could win this. In the juniors, I'm going to go with Bryce Jefferson to take this field down. In seniors, I'm going with my man, Bob Howell, but watch out for Mark Smothers in this field. In co-ed, I'm going to go, this field is loaded. It's very hard to pick. I'm going to go with Martina Belt and Russell Tabor to take this down. But watch out for Maggie and Wayne, Craig and Ashley, Chad and Kim. All of those who actually win this field. In doubles, I'm going to go with the team of Craig and Tyler to take this down. Craig Irvin, Tyler Amos are going to get their first win this year. But watch out for Drew Waking and Tom Gustafson. And in singles, I'm going to go with Tom Gustafson. To repeat again, he won the last time he was in the field. But watch out for McKenna Ballou, who took down the whole field in Knoxville, Drew Waking and Craig Irving. And that's going to be my picks this week for Time to Fill. If you think I should pick you, prove me wrong.
My man, the Mississippi Ninja. I am proud of him for his picks this season. They've been pretty spot on. He does hedge his bet just a little bit, but I'm most proud of him for being able to control his camera from his watch. That's the thing I'm most proud of. I love it. Philip, my man, he had a hell of a weekend this past weekend as well. Did he come in fourth? I mean, he was just off the trophy podium a couple times.
So, and the coolest thing about him, as I was standing outside, I went to make a call or something like that to the wife or one of the kids, and he was driving out. I think he might have been done with his play or something like that. And Philip said, man, he's like, dude, you've got to keep this venue. You've got to keep this place. This was one of the best majors I've ever been to.
It's awesome.
And again, he absolutely loved Shreveport, Bossier City there. So that was good.
That's great.
And he did. He played well, man.
Harcro's checking in. Amber's checking in. Adam Gilbert is just checking in with an emoji of an exploding star. Go figure. Adam Brower is taking the over 20. I'm with you, brother. I think that's absolutely the case. But keep bringing those comments. And again, will our first king or our next king or first ever queen of cornhole be out of the juniors division? Throw those in there because we're going to get to that here in just a moment. Now that Phil has made his picks, something we want to talk about that we test drove in Shreveport, Bossier City was the new Saturday schedule. And it's funny because I am part of these discussion groups, but I don't chime in because I don't know anything with regard to how it works. But with regard to the decision-making about how the tournaments are run, and one of the suggestions was, what if we try this format on Saturday, which was test-driven this past weekend, and everybody seemed to really like it. So talk about why, there were obviously, we want the pros to get this advantage or this opportunity, a little extra something for being pro. But why did Saturday change to where it was, and then why change back to where it is?
Yeah, well, so Chris Clark and the team really got together to talk about this test. But, obviously, Finn, as we get more people playing, the tournament's lasting long, we're trying to do everything we can for the players and for the staff and for everybody to have the best experience you can, right? So one of the things that has happened over the years is we used to actually run with this format, right? It was doubles pool play, singles pool play, singles play.
Right.
And then we switched it all in the earlier days because of the old software that we used to do for tournaments and things like that, because we needed to have time between matches to prepare the brackets. Well, because of Scoreholio
Right.
and what they've been able to develop over the last few years and the wonderful product that they have out there in the marketplace, it's made things more productive and efficient for the tournament directors and
Yeah.
teams. So it was time for us to revisit the whole concept of now we don't need that extra time. There's still a lot of work behind the scenes that they're doing that they need to do and prep for this new model. But we've reverted back to the idea of doing doubles pool play first,
Right.
and then rolling straight into doubles play,
main, right.
and then going into singles pool play, and then rolling straight into singles. And what this does is it not only helps out the tournament flow, it also helps out the player. The only bummer is the pro player who liked to sleep in, and there wasn't a ton of them that did that, but there was a few.
That advantage wasn't taken advantage of as much,
Right, there was-
because I think everybody kind of wants to be there.
Part of the
Yeah,
party,
yeah.
right? So, but the exciting thing and fun thing for this is the bummer about our old process and our old flow was you would show up in the morning and play your pool play, whether it was singles or doubles, you would play that, but then you would have to wait. Like, let's say you're a player and you don't really like singles, right? You just got a buddy and the two of you play doubles.
Right.
Well, you come and play your doubles pool play, but now you got to wait 4 hours before you spin back around and can actually
Right.
play in the tournament that you're going to be playing in. Now you play in pool play, take a break, go get yourself a bucket of beer or whatever, and you're back up and live in less than an hour.
Well, something else that I noticed too is it seems to also play to the advantage of those who are in tier play, because it just immediately rolls to
Yeah.
tier play. So we had in fact, I knew who our tier 2 and tier 3 champions were before I knew who the main bracket champions were, because they were able to get through.
Kind of flowed, right?
And it was a good flow. And that was something that didn't even exist back then when the first change was made. So,
Well, here we got some comments already coming in. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen so far. Rob Cooksey, I loved it. Stephanie Burgett, I loved it. Phil Burnett, I actually liked it. Didn't love it. He actually liked it, though.
it was all right.
Adam Gilbert, love this. So, again, it worked very, very well in Shreveport Bossier, and I think it's going to work well moving forward.
Yeah.
It did help us. Not only is it a better flow for the tournament, like I said, it's also, I think, going to help the tournament go faster for us, because one of the things we want to do is get players out to get the chance to experience the city,
See the
right?
city, yeah.
That's what we want. It was so fun Saturday night when we actually got to get back out at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock and go have a smash burger and go get
back
a
out to
beer
the East Bank,
and go
yeah.
listen to some live music and be a part of the city and not just be stuck in the cornhole room.
And it won't always be the case, depending upon the amount of boards and the amount of people and so on and so forth. But it does help increase the flow, and it does show you that the continued evolution of what's going on, about what the players want, what the technology allows for, and how you mesh those two things together to make it the best experience. That's really, what it is all about. And trust me, from an announcing standpoint, a bigger, faster flow and the ability to get more games go bang, 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 and crown some champions when people are still awake. I love that idea.
Well, it depends what part of the country you're in.
Well,
or
again,
the world, really.
well, everybody doesn't have to be awake, but if somebody's still awake, that would be nice. So I love it. I think it's great, and that will be the Saturday schedule moving forward the rest of the season, starting this Saturday.
Yeah, Jack Harkrow just asked, is this the same for Cedar Rapids,
Yeah.
Dallas, and on?
Yeah.
Yes, Jack, that is the plan. We're moving forward the rest of this season, absolutely, and beyond.
Well,
So-
it's live and learn. You live and learn. And as things present themselves as opportunities and as things shift and technology changes, schedules change, you can do that. And hopefully it just continues to make it better. So, so good. Again, like you said, it starts this weekend in Cedar Rapids and will continue through the end of the season. We have so much cool stuff that we still have to get to next weekend. We've taken up a ton of time from you. Appreciate it. Next week, and clearly, we haven't seen a lot of an answer with regard to will our next. Well, let me ask you guys. We'll start, and then before we get to the end, will our next king or first ever queen of cornhole come out of the juniors division? What do you say, yay or nay?
If you gave me the field of juniors, I'm going to say there's.
Yes or no?
Week.
No, yes or no? Now, yes or no?
Nay.
No?
Not yet.
Not yet? All right. That's 3 no's. We could very well all be wrong.
Yeah, be smacked in the face because they're amazing.
So, as Philip Barnett likes to say, prove us wrong. But is it close?
Yes.
Very close. It is this close.
And we're also this close to a female player.
That's what I'm saying.
And we're
First
also
ever
this
queen of
close
cornhole.
to a senior taking it.
But now he's just covered all the bases.
I know, but it's a fact, dude. Look at the depth of every single one of our divisions.
I know, but how are you creating any manufactured controversy by saying everybody could win?
Well, no.
Make up some things to argue about.
Hey, who out there
for
thinks
God's
Finn
sakes?
has a chance to win?
Yeah, right. No one. The over-under on that is 0, and I'm taking the under.
All right, you got a fact.
Bottom line is next weekend we're going to talk about the World's 19 schedule. I know a lot of you have been asking about that. There's going to be announced in 2 parts, but the part that you will most care about will be announced next week, on the Taco. We have some very cool ACO media updates on a couple of different fronts that we want to tell you about next week on the Taco. The return of the whole nation shot of the week next week on the Taco. ACO before, how about Richard Jones? We're going to spend some time with Richard Jones and what he used to do before next week. State championships, we told you we were going to talk about it this week, and we were going to talk about it this week to tell you if you're running a state championship or you've run one, get your results in to Whitney Garner and get those pictures either to her.
Pictures are what we need.
Yeah, we need pictures.
And some video.
Yeah, any video, whatever you want to feature from your state championship. Kentucky had a huge one. We've already gotten some stuff from the Kentucky folks, but send them in. We got 2 or 3 states have already checked in, but we want to give as much love as we can next week. So again, get it to Whitney. It's co@AmericanCornhole.com. If you want to send video and pictures to us at taco@AmericanCornhole.com, you can do that. But we'll deal with state championships next week as well.
Well, so I did want to say something, though. I think that Whitney Garner, she might not be still tuning into the show, but if you are, you and April, I need you to do something for us. Or Margaret may be included in this. How about next week we show, with all the majors that have been played this year, how many are women, how many are seniors, how many are juniors that have won a major this year in singles only, which gives us kind of a glimpse into a picture of what the worlds
may look like. All right, this might make a better email than an appeal on the talk. We'll see. But the gauntlet's laid down. Let's find out.
Percentage-wise, seriously.
All right, we've done the longest taco of the year, but I'm surprised it didn't take longer, to be honest with you. Thank you so much for paying attention. We still have a little bit more something for you to see. Please stick around and check this out. It was really very cool to see this, and I love Chad and Kim's excellent cornhole adventure, and this one is from the UK. We can all watch it together, but first things first, I am Finn, the loudmouth from the ACO, saying cheers to you, and he is Frank Geers, the cornhole mate, reminding you,
keep on pitching.
This week on Chad and Kim's Cornhole Adventures, we're headed to ACO Europe. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Park and Ticket, for the best place to park in Atlanta. We started out the trip with flight 1 of 7, headed to Philadelphia. After a quick layover, we boarded our flight, headed to our next destination, Dublin. Could you imagine anything more perfect than a rainbow as we landed in Ireland? Once we got to Dublin, we rented a car and headed for the Cliffs of Moher. We only had a 3-hour drive, but driving on the wrong side of the road through super windy, narrow streets was a little intense. But I have to say, the Irish countryside is absolutely beautiful. Too bad for Chad. He had to focus on driving and didn't get to see as much as I did, but definitely worth the drive. Once we got to the cliffs, it was absolutely breathtaking. Definitely a must-see if you ever make a trip to Ireland. For lunch, we went to a quaint little town, and I had my first Guinness in Ireland, which was absolutely delicious, and the food, I have to say, was amazing. Not to mention, every turn was a castle, and another castle, and another castle. More great food, and then the next day, we were headed to London. We woke up early, headed to the airport, flight 3 of 7. Once we got to London, we boarded the train and headed into the city. The Gatwick Express was definitely the way to get from the airport into the city center. Once we were in the city, we boarded our double-decker bus and we went sightseeing. 2 full days of seeing the city, and I felt like we barely scratched the surface. And we had more good food. Lots and lots of good food. I feel like we were pretty much eating the entire trip, but thank goodness we were walking probably more than I've ever walked in my whole life. So we burned off some calories so we could eat some more good food. And did I mention the food was so good? After 2 awesome days in London, we boarded flight 4 of 7, headed to Manchester. It was time to play some cornhole. Once we got to Manchester, we were greeted with open arms. It was so nice to finally meet all of the European players. I have to say, Daniel Lilly did a great job running the event, and the facility was awesome. Might have been a little bit cold, but all in all, a really great place to play. And I'm honored to say I'm the first ever ACO Women's European Major Champion. Oh, and did I mention the facility had delicious food as well? After a couple amazing days in Manchester, we boarded flight 5 of 7 back to Ireland. And this time we did the city of Dublin. And let's say it didn't disappoint. Dublin Castle, and of course, we had to go to St. Patrick's Cathedral. But what would a trip to Dublin be without a trip to Guinness's brewery? The Guinness Storehouse was so cool. Absolutely state of the art. Who knew that finding out how beer's made could be so cool and interesting? And of course, you get to end the tour with a little perk of a pint of Guinness. And don't worry, guys, Dublin had so much more amazing food to offer. In case you didn't notice, there's kind of a recurring theme. So much good food. We spent our last night strolling the streets, found a little pub with some live music, had another pint of Guinness. Pretty much an absolutely perfect ending to the trip. The next day, we got flights 6 and 7 and ended up back in a rainy Atlanta. This might have been my favorite adventure yet, but stay tuned. There's plenty more to come on Chad and Kim's Cornhole Adventures.
For this is my Cornwall, and this is my home. For this is my Cornwall, and this is my home. Come on, Mr. Nichols. Hockey, hockey, hockey! Aye, aye, aye! Hockey! Aye! Hockey! Aye! Hockey, hockey, hockey! Aye, aye, aye! Ricardo Pispega! Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rich Pyle, the host of Hole Nation, where we share everything this cornhole and a lot more. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and catch our new videos every Wednesday at 7. And remember, whether it's sticky or slick side down, bring it.